Now, before we move any further, let me introduce myself and the team. My name is Barbara Vachtlova, and I'm in charge of operations for the Green Fox Academy in Prague and in Slovakia. I mean, in the Czech Republic and in Slovakia. And above all, it is my pleasure to be working with students while placing them into the partner companies. So this is definitely one of the topics I'm more than happy to cover with you today. So you would be seeing me at the very end of your journey, or rather the start. Now I'd like to give word to Jiřinka, if I may.
Hello again. I'm sorry for Czech content from the beginning. I work in marketing team of Green Fox. Probably, or some of you may interacted with me during chat, or I answer your messages via email or Facebook messages and calls. So it's me. Hello, and I hope you will enjoy this evening. And next can be Dan.
Thanks for the word. Yeah, I'm Dan. I work as an organizational psychologist in Green Fox along with Katarina. You may have met one of the two of us already during an interview, or we've responded to some of your emails. You'll be seeing a lot of us if you apply to Green Fox. That's one thing we take care of, is the applications and the whole process. And we also take care of you for trainings of soft skills during the course. So this is also something I'll be talking about during this presentation today. Now I can give my word to Toyash, maybe.
Hi, I'm Toyash. I'm one of the co-founders of Green Fox Academy. I'm the technical co-founder, so I'm going to tell you about what you can learn and how you're going to learn that at Green Fox. And the next is Yarda.
Hello, and my name is Yarda, or Yaroslav, if you will. And I'm graduate from July this year, and I think you will hear more from me at the end of this whole session, I think.
Thank you very much, guys. Now let's proceed to why we're here. Aside of course, all of us from the organizational and operational team, there's other people that you will surely meet in future. Below you may see the Hungarian team, the mentors. There will be the guest mentors at during the classes, and of course the top pictures, the Czech and the Slovak team that works both on the execution of the courses itself and of course of the placement. Now, to this day, we've had over 1,300 graduates of variety of backgrounds, ages, experiences, basically whatever you can think of and whatever you can name, we've already dealt with it in past. Now, here is a snapshot of our online classes. As of course, COVID accelerated this direction of working environment, we've launched those as well. You may see rodeos, of which Yarda was part of. You see a part-time class, Jade, a very small one, and a slightly bigger class, Zepper. In the time that this was taken, they were midway through the second module. Now they are actually about to graduate. Now, of course, we try, if the situation allows that, we try to have on-campus classes, and we're super happy that this September we could have launched yet again another on-campus class, and we can see our students in 3D. Now, aside of course Yarda, who will be able to tell his story, I'd like to introduce you to 4 alumni, namely, for example, Yarda that's currently working in Lundegard as a junior Java developer and previously was a lumberjack. Next to it, you may see Philip, who was a bartender, a great one, and now is a junior developer in Accenture, or Martin, who was a music teacher, again, developer, this time in Rohlik, or Jana, who decided to quit Czech Technical University and deep dive straight into the practical coding, and currently is an Angular developer in Artini. So the backgrounds really are various. Now, what we're gonna do towards the very end of the course is that we will be placing you, should you choose that method, and I will talk about that further, we will be placing you in into one of our 95 partners around Czech Republic, Slovakia, and Hungary. And of course, there's always other options of remote cooperation with foreign companies. You may on your screen now see some of the companies that we cooperate with, where we place students. Of course, for the most part, some of the companies have acquired different companies, but we're placing the students under the name of the mother company. But aside of that, you see it's a wide variety of multinational companies, all the way down to little punk startups. So the preferences are definitely something that we're happy to take into consideration where we're looking for the best first place for you on this really exciting journey. However, how has the IT sector been influenced by the COVID crisis? I think that's part of the reason why we're all here, because it was not really. If anything, the demand boomed. So all a developer needs at the end of the day is laptop, connection to internet, and ideally some electricity. That would help massively as well. However, speaking and getting to the gros of it, speaking of the career-changing junior developer courses, there are two questions that you need to ask yourself, or you should ask yourself. Where do you want to study? Would you like to study on campus in Prague, which is at Wenceslav Square, Václavské náměstí, or would you prefer to study online? Those are the two first key questions, and of course both have their pros and cons. For the on-campus class, we have a maximum of 20 students in class. And of course, for the online class, there is no limit, as clearly the space does not limit us. However, when we talk about the online classes, we record the materials, and there is an option to rewatch those. Mentors will tell you what's worth rewatching, or what's not so great to rewatch, and it would be better to put into practice. We will have small study groups, meaning there will be one mentor for 8 students, always. Of course, with the online, clearly, there is a possibility to study from everywhere. However, as mentioned before, you need laptop, electricity, and internet connections. Those are the key 3 elements that will make it much easier for you with anything you decide to do anyways. And of course, we offer individual mentoring. If things get hard, you don't want to discuss it amongst the group of students, you just have an individual coding problem, we're more than happy to go through it in one-on-one occasions. And the second question that you should place to yourself is, how fast do you wish, or are you able to change your career? We offer 2 options here. You may decide to go for the fast version, that would be the super intensive course, or the slower version, and that is evening and weekend course. I will explain both right now. With the super intensive course, we're talking about roughly 4 months, 4.5 months. Altogether, it is 16 weeks with 640 hours in total. Now, this course means that you will have to abandon your current job, because we will be meeting either online or in the classroom from 9 o'clock until 6 o'clock. And as my colleague Tojáš will anticipate later on, there is going to be some extra time every day that you will need to spend on self-study as well. It is a career change, so it it asks for some extra time in that direction as well. The other option, the slower option, would be evening and weekend course, where the course happens during the first 6 weeks in 2 occasions per week. So one would be during the working week, and the second is during weekend. So 1 weekend day, 1 work week evening. It's much slower tempo. From the 7th week on, we will add 1 more working day evening. So 6:30 until 9:30 in the evening. This course requires approximately 40 hours per week. For the last module, it does require a full-time dedication, as the only option to change the career is to actually learn the tempo and the dynamics of the groups and all of the delivery systems. Hence, for the final part of the course, we will ask you to be already in the full-time mode. Should you have any questions in that direction, I'm more than happy to elaborate on that later on. Dramatic moment of my remote not working. Oh,
I understand everything. Thank you.
Great. So why would you want to choose Green Fox Academy and career change with us? Well, of course, we offer the career change with job placement guarantee because we're sure and very confident in what we do. We have a track record. So we are therefore able to guarantee you landing a job. Otherwise, we will return all of the money to you. Now, in all of the courses that we have, we offer a trial period, which means that for the super intensive course, if you just decide while you're already enlisted into the course, if you decide that this is, well, not for you, for whatever reason, that's fine, you may withdraw. For the part-time course, the evening and the weekend one, you have 4 weeks, as the intensity is a little slower. So you have 4 weeks there to decide whether or not this is something you want to pursue. We're teaching only the most in-demand programming languages because your and my and all of us objective is to place you. And that is not going to work out if we teach you ancient prehistoric programming language. You may, of course, should you decide for the evening and weekend option, you may requalify while working. So you're not losing your income. That may make things a little easier for you. We offer a postpaid option. It's called After, where you start paying the tuition fee after the course when you already have a job. And of course, one of my super favorite points, as this is incredibly important in my opinion, we carefully select applicants because everybody can learn to code. But what changes is the speed in which you can learn it and the depth in which you can learn it equals your usefulness in the future company. So we will select you. And if we select you, then we're confident you can make it. If not, there is still the withdrawal period. And of course, we take an individual approach to every single one of our students. Now, the new information that has been released a couple of days ago, we have been accredited by the Czech Ministry of Education, also for the online courses. Now, what does that mean for you? It means that our tuition will be without the VAT, as in without the 21% payment. Of course, aside of that, you have a possibility to get a financial support from Czech Labor Office. And at the very end of the course, you will receive an official certification about your career change. Now, if I may mention the second point, the financial support of Czech Labor Office, this is something that we cannot mediate for you because this is a financial support by third party. So we can't mediate it. However, once you ask for that, we will be at the Labor Office. We will be more than happy to supply you with necessary confirmations and take the conversation there. But the application has to be done by you. Speaking of the prices of the courses, for the online courses, there's the same price for super intensive and the evening and weekend course with the before payment, which means that the whole tuition will be transferred to our account prior to the start of the course. That is 115,000 Czech crowns, no longer with VAT, or 4,290 euros for the Slovaks and those, of course, abroad. Another option that's also with placement, just like the before option, is the after option, where you just pay a deposit of 20,000 Czech crowns. That is, you may call it a first installment to the course. So that happens prior to the start. And the remaining of the tuition will be paid after you get a job. And we will be taking 20% from your net salary. So there is no flat fee. It's from a net salary, and that is also because despite us guaranteeing a minimal salary, these vary. So there's students earnings a little more or significantly more than that. So we want to keep the process fair for everybody. The third option is path variable. This option is special in a sense that here we can place you if you want, but we don't have to. So there's no pressure. Whereas with the before and after options, you are already on the placement option. So the remainder of the tuition will be paid by the partner companies. So they financially participate on your education as well. Hence, path variable is more expensive. However, should you throughout the course decide that you don't want to be placed by the institution, it's no problem. We call it buyout, and you would just equalize the prices. However, this is something that we would better discuss after your successful selection process, as before that it's a little irrelevant. So this was the online prices for the online courses. Now let's talk about the on-campus prices. For the on-campus prices, be it super intensive or evening and weekend, again, there's three options, before and after being the options with placement. And the path variable, just like previously, is where you can decide or you can look for the job on your own. This course has already been accredited, so couple of months ago, so this is already in the running. Now, there are, of course, always certain extra options. If you decide for some reason that studying online is not for you, no problem. You can switch onto on-campus education or vice versa. If there is a health issue, a traveling issue, these are the possibilities, and there's no problem with that at all. Or if you decide that the tempo of your selected course is either too much or too little, we can make it either easier or more difficult for you. That's not a problem. So you can jump in between the intensities as well. However, those are best done at the end of each of the modules. And the course consists of 3 modules that will be explained shortly. So at the end of the module, we're more than happy to transfer you into your selected option, should you wish to change. Now, speaking of which, I would like to ask my colleague Toyash to take over and explain to us the content and the layout of the course. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So let's talk about the course in general. So I'm going to tell you what we're going to learn and basically where you get in each of the modules. And also I'm going to tell you a bit about how the whole structure is working. So what you can expect day by day in GreenFox. So we have 3 modules, the foundation, the orientation, and the project module. The two first modules, the foundation and the orientation, is quite similar in manner. Actually, in these modules, we use a method called the flipped classroom method. I will get back to this later. That's what we call the workshop phase. Basically, that's where you learn the really basics of web development. And during the project module, you will create something real and something similar to a real application. And I'm the technical co-founder, so I couldn't set up the whole remote control. So please, somebody, could you move to the next slide? Thank you. I promise I'm good with computers, but not in this case. Cool. So let's talk about the foundation module. The foundation module, I'm going to list all the technologies that you're going to learn or you're able to learn in this module. If you haven't yet heard about these technologies, don't worry. I'm just listing these to those people who already heard about them and excited about what we exactly learned. So on the foundation module, this goal is that you should be able to learn all the necessary basic building blocks of programming languages. We start with HTML and CSS at the beginning, but right after that, we switch to Java or C#. It always depends on the class that we start. And basically, in these languages, you learn all the basic building blocks of that language. So, for example, functions, object-oriented programming, and so on. Also, you learn all the necessary tools for development. So you learn to use all the editors, the Git, so version controlling system and GitHub, and also the command line. And on the end, please, the next slide, you will be capable of creating an application like this. It's a time map game where you're able to move your character and kill these skeletons and so on. And on your own in a week, you will be able to do this. On the full-time course, this whole module is 5 weeks. On the part-time course, it's way longer, so you can expect quite a few weeks, actually, almost a quarter of a year. Next slide, please. The orientation module, till this time, you already basically learned all the basics of development. Then on, we learn not just how to create algorithms and create programs, but rather how to create real web applications. So if you would move to the next slide, I can show you what's there. Actually, during this module, on the end, you will be capable of creating simple web pages. And it's not just a web page, but rather a real web application where you are able to chat with other participants. And these are really Java or C# web applications. In Java case, we are learning Spring. In the case of C#, we are learning ASP.NET. And also we learn about how these are connecting to SQL databases, how to store the data there, and how to create interactive websites. So in this case, for example, how to chat with another client. Please go to the next slide. Thank you. So the next step is the project module. Many of the bootcamps actually stop here. So especially bootcamps in Western Europe, for example, Le Wagon and so on, are just teaching you the first part, the workshop part that we do. And actually the project module is quite different. Till the workshop phase, we're working in a class, and we will use this flipped classroom method and get back to later. But actually in the project module, we split up the whole class to 4 6-person teams. And in these teams, you're gonna work on a single project for 8 weeks altogether. It's a longer, actually in the case of part-time, it's also full-time. So you can do the first 2 modules part-time, but for every case, the project module is full-time. And actually in these 8 weeks, you're able to create a bigger application with real-life components like authentication, and also big setups like how to create a continuous integration setup and so on. So for example, you can recreate kind of like a Reddit-like application where you're able to post new stuff, upload, download, also handle multiple users and so on, like you would create it in a real-life environment. And also you learn all the necessary details that is expected from junior developers. So some of the design patterns and also how to test stuff, and not just manual testing, but rather automation tests like integration test and unit tests. Thank you. Please go to the next slide. And we'll get to the details. I will get to the details, how we're going to learn and not just what we're going to learn. So let's first talk about, yeah, it was good. Please go back. Thank you. So how a day looks like in a class in a workshop phase. So the first 2 modules, that means the workshop phase and the orientation phase. In these phases, a single day starts with a check-in and also ends with a checkout. In the check-in, everybody basically tells how they are and helps them to basically arrive to the morning. And the checkout is basically just let go the whole day. But the important things happen between. We always start with the material review. But to be able to start with the material review, you have to watch videos. Usually in a school setup, you would watch lectures during the day, but we're not going to do that. That's going to be the homework. And basically that's the flipped classroom, that usually that's what we do today. That's the homework. So you're going to watch the lectures on videos. It's going to be curated YouTube videos given by us to you. When you watch these, after that, you arrive in the morning and we do a so-called material review. Here, a mentor is going through on each of the ideas that you could watch in these videos and make sure that everybody's on the same page. After that, we start the workshop. And by workshop, I mean a great amount of small exercises. And you will do, like, most of the cases, like on a normal day, 80% of the time is just about coding. So most of the time that you will do here is project work. And usually in the school, the project work that's something that's the homework, and that's something that you do home. But now we are going to do this together because that's where you can get lost. That's where you get stuck with something and so on. So that's where the mentor is going to help you if you're stuck with something, and you will be able to create all these small exercises and later bigger projects like the time map game or the chat application. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, we are teaching in this flipped classroom method. So we are more like co-pilots than we are teaching you all the things that you have to learn. And also, as we go to the end or advance to the end of the whole thing, we're getting closer to real work environment. Actually, our goal is to work in the same way how would you work in a development team on the end of the project phase. And even you're going to demo your work every week. And also some of the demos can be open demos. That means, for example, companies, representatives from companies are coming and watching all of your things that you have done and learned during that week or a couple of months before. Next slide, please. We have kind of a specialization on the first 2 modules. Basically, you go through all the foundations that are needed for web development. And after that, you can specialize to more front-end or more back-end or full-stack type of projects. When we are splitting up the teams to projects on the project phase, there are going to be multiple types of projects, and you can choose between front-end and back-end and full-stack type of projects. I wouldn't say that it matters a lot because in most of the companies, it changes very rapidly which kind of technologies you have to learn. But if you already have some preferences, it's very likely that you will be able to choose that one that is closer to your heart. But my main advice is that don't attach to any of these technologies so far, because in most of the cases, what I see with students, they learn the real technology that they're gonna love for the long run in the very first 1.5 years of their real career. So at the very beginning, it's what's important. It's not really just to learn a certain technology that we're gonna actually teach you, but what our goal is more like to teach you how to learn technologies. So basically, after the course, you will be able to learn any new technology. And in most of the cases, that's very likely. If you join a new company, you have to learn quite a few new technologies compared to GreenFox, because that's the daily job of a developer. Even somebody who has a couple of years or even many of years of experience are in this situation, if they are switching companies or even there are new projects in the team or in the company, they always have to learn new technologies. So the main muscle that you have to train from the beginning, that you are able to learn new technologies on your own. Next slide, please. And
well, it's actually mine.
Your turn.
Right, sorry, I didn't even give me the word. Okay, my turn to speak. How do you even get into the course? You might be asking, because we've been talking about it, but getting into it is not as easy a task as it might seem. The first question you might be asking yourself is, why do we need a selection process when the course is so expensive, when you're paying us so much money to even get in? Well, that's precisely the reason why why we have a selection process, because it's a really big step and it costs a lot of money. So both us and you have to be sure that it's a good choice, that you really want to go in there and that it's going to be something that fits you as a person. So there's a chance that you're just not fit in terms of your personality to be a programmer. And through the selection process, we try to discover that together. We try to have some steps that I'll go through that tell us whether you might be a good fit or not. Through having the selection process, we also guarantee that the students will have some kind of a performance that is the minimum that we need, like Bara mentioned before, so that slower people don't really slow down maybe the faster ones. And we also guarantee a good atmosphere, kind of, because we also try to look at a little bit, as much as we can, at the personality of the people, and if they're motivated and just mainly motivated. We try to give some equal opportunity, but yeah, it's also a little part of that as well. What we do not guarantee, however, is an equal level of skill of our students at the beginning. So it may happen that somebody is here and somebody is here and they're both joining the course. Don't be scared though, this will get evened out very quickly through the course, as it's very intensive, especially the super intensive one. So yeah, this is how it is. Okay, these are the 4 steps that you see on the screen. We have you sending an application, the first one. You give us some basic information about yourself, and very importantly, your level of English. Since we're speaking in English already now, you probably already have the English level that's required. But just so you understand, while some courses are in Czech, the materials you work with will still be in English. So we need to check that you will be able to understand those. Okay, so we get your application, we write it down, and we send you a link for cognitive games. These are games that are just games. It's not a test. We're not trying to see how good you are, but we just watch your behavior in the game. We just watch what you're doing, how you're playing. On the screen, you can see visuals of what the games look like. They're super simple 2D games that anybody can play. It's really easy to learn. I'm not going to tell you how it works. That would help you out, and we don't want to do that. But by the end of the games, which take about 25 minutes to play, we'll have this cognitive profile of you, of what are your strengths, your weaknesses, what you're good at, what you're weaker at. So we can see if this profile matches the one of a programmer. So you can still maybe have a low score by the end of the games when they come out. As you can see on the left, we get profile match with a typical programmer. If you have a low score, it doesn't mean that you're cognitively bad or that you're not smart or something. It probably just means that maybe your way of working, thinking is not so fit for programming as a career. This is important to understand. Yeah, so I've said everything about that. What we look at is a minimum of 50% of a match, but we assess every result individually. We go through it, we check. So sometimes you might get accepted with a lower score because we still think that you're good in other ways. Yeah, we really try to look at everything individually overall. After that, if you match with us and we like you and the games like you as well, what happens next is we invite you to an interview, a personal meeting over Google Meet, kind of like this one, except this is Zoom, so Google Meet. And you talk with us for about 30 to 45 minutes. And we try to check your motivation for the course and just try to get to know you even more personally to gauge how much of a fit you are and yeah, if it's going to work out. After that, we generally invite you to the third or fourth, actually at this point, step of our selection process, which is the coding simulation. In the coding simulation, it's not so much in our hands with me and Katarina, the two psychologists. This time you will meet a mentor and you will also be there with another applicant for the course. And together you will be solving some coding related tasks. You don't have to know any coding though to pass it. And you will also be cooperating with the other person. I can't really get too much into it either in order to not spoil it and make it easier for you than for other applicants. Very simple. How to prepare for all this? If you can do something, you can play on platforms like Lumosity and Elevate to increase your cognitive scores or cognitive strengths. We also have some courses you can attend, like a workshop, which is online, kind of like this one, or we have a 3-week course called My First App on our websites, which starts every Monday. Also pretty cool and free. So that's an option too, if you'd like. Now, yeah, this is just what I said, so there it is. Now you know. The second thing I mentioned that I do, and Katarina does as well with me, is soft skills trainings. So they are part of the program that you learn in the course. So you as a student of Green Fox, when you go through the 4 months, when you go through the 10 months, at certain points of the education, you'll have a meeting with us for about 3 hours usually about certain soft skills. And we'll be learning about them through trainings, through workshops. You'll understand what these look like eventually. Right, so what are soft skills? What is the purpose of them? We usually talk about hard skills and soft skills on the other side. So usually it's like what I can actually do is we think of the hard skills, and then like the stuff on around that and the non-concrete, I would say bullshit, sorry about the word, I have nothing else that's coming to my mind around that. That's usually what we think of as soft skills. Right. Yes, but this bullshit will actually help you find the job. It's going to help you keep the job, and it's going to help you stay happy in the job as well, because it's going to help you make good relationships with your coworkers, communicate well, organize your work, stay out of stress. There's so many benefits to this that it would take a while to list all of it. So what are soft skills really? How should I define this as a psychologist? Kind of a hard job defining these abstract concepts, but one simple way I found out how to do this is through this theory. When we meet somebody, anybody new, evolutionarily, through evolution, we've learned to look at two things mainly when we meet somebody new. It's his friendliness or AKA warmth, and his competence. So the first thing, as prehistoric humans, when we saw a lion or a tiger in the bush, it was, does it want to kill me? Friendliness, warmth, or does it not want to kill me? And if it passed this first step, or if it didn't, or rather, is it capable of killing me, or is it not capable of killing me? So this is something that stayed in our minds until today. And when we meet a new person, we still kind of subconsciously make this process of judging their warmth and competence. So you could kind of look at this and see that's the competence, the ability to do things is the hard skill. But the warmth, the friendliness, all the stuff that's left would be the warmth and the ability to communicate and to connect with somebody, all the other stuff. When you go to an HR interview, if you're not friendly, you won't even get to talking about the hard skills. So it's the stuff you're going to start with. They're going to look at you and be like, okay, is this someone that I actually want to work with, that I want in my company? And if the answer is no for the HR person in his head already, he might talk to you about your hard skills, but in his head, he's already thinking, I don't really want to work with this guy. I don't want him in my company. So yeah, that might illuminate the importance of this. Some examples of what soft skills are: creative thinking, problem solving that is sensible towards all the people or parties involved, effective communication, building trust, the ability to deal with stress, realizing even what is right and what is wrong can fit into soft skills. And to maybe further illustrate the importance, I can just try asking a rhetorical question. Would you prefer to work with somebody who does his job very well? He fulfills all his tasks. You can rely on him, but in his communication, he's always a bit of an asshole. He's really difficult to work with. He makes your day harder through a lot of small things. Or would you rather have somebody who's kind of average in his job? He's not stellar. He just kind of does it, but at the same time, he's always a sweetheart. So whenever you come to work, he's just so friendly. He always smiles at you. He makes your day better. He allows you to work better because you feel better. Now it is a bit of a rhetorical question, so I'm not gonna ask you to answer that. I do believe and hope that we are coming to the same conclusion together on that. Furthermore, soft skills are transferable. So you'll see this in every ad for every job. It's always there. It's like, we're looking for somebody flexible. We're looking for somebody who can communicate. We're looking for somebody, blah, blah, blah. You know what they are like, because you've read all of these just as much as I have. When you read it, you're like, okay, how do I, yeah, of course I'm flexible. But this is something that you never have actually actively trained. Just life has kind of given it to you. So now you have the opportunity to maybe work with it a little bit. Yeah, so much about soft skills. On the screen, you can see the ones that we train in Green Fox Academy. It's the stuff that we've decided is most important for your career as a junior programmer. So we start off with a team building, just for you guys to bond together and to get to know each other and get rid of that stress and nervousness. Stress management actually has been rebranded to productivity lately, because we feel like that works better. Then we have presentation skills, important everywhere. Self-knowledge for you guys to maybe get a bit deeper into yourselves. Okay, so productivity has been added by somebody, but well, it's there. You can see that, yeah, we care about it. Then we have feedback training in general. So we teach how to talk to each other, how to build the feedback culture in a company. And finally, interview skills. This is preparing you for that HR interview when you leave our company. I mean, when you leave Green Fox and you're getting interviewed for the company, how to get in there, what to do, what to expect, what do HR people do when they talk to you, all the tips and tricks from us as insiders in there. Yeah, I think I mentioned this, so I can just go over that. Lastly, what I want to mention is For those people who wants to spend a little bit more time on their self-development and maybe have some individual time, we also offer individual coaching. Now, this is not done by me because I don't have the training yet. Hopefully I will soon. But my colleague Katarina, who some of you may have met, does it freely within the course. You have the chance to go to individual coaching courses, to book to book a meeting with her and spend some time working on yourself and figuring out how to work best within Green Fox, but maybe also in your future. She's really good at looking forward and being very goal oriented. I think that's Katarina's super strength. Right. Maybe something that is worth mentioning before I move on is coaching is often mistaken for a form of therapy. So people know what psychologists do and they think, okay, so I'm going to go there and he's going to try to fix my problems and he's going to get in my head. It's not really what coaching does. We often see it as a thing that we go to when we have a problem. Coaching doesn't have to be that. It's kind of like a sports coach. So you're, let's say, an elite athlete. We've all been watching the Olympics now. When you have your coach, he's the one who finds the best way for you to be best at what you do. So let's say I'm a spear thrower. I'm not really sure what you call that in English, but you know what I'm talking about. We have some very good athletes in the Czech Republic who do that. Your coach is going to tell you how to have the best training regime, what to eat, how to spend your time. He's going to find the best way for you to be best. Yeah, I think that kind of covers it. I hope that gives you a good picture of everything. And on the next slide, we have some events. And I believe Bara is the one who will talk about those.
That's right. Thank you very much, Dan. So when you're all trained and all prepared to meet the partners, well, this almost sounds like the dancing classes that I think most of us took when we were 16, when we actually arrived there. But these are the ones that you will arrive to. Now, for example, open demos, this has already been mentioned. Those are presentations. In the online format, of course, we present it, we invite the companies, and we record it as well, because it just does not sometimes fit everybody's schedule, and that's perfectly fine from the partners, so then they can play it later. Or we will be doing, again, open demos also for the on-campus classes, and we will be doing those physically as well. So this is where you can meet the companies and speak to potential future employers. Other than that, we will be preparing hackathons either with companies or on our own, just to break a little bit the stereotype, just work on something else, try the atmosphere as well, that actually levels with the experience, the juniority that you have throughout the course, and of course to meet the other students that are in different stages of the courses as well. Another event, and that's a primary event, is Tech Talent Speed Date, which is a series of short interviews. However, this has been a little changed, and right now we're reworking it a little bit because of the pandemic situation, but soon it should get back to normal, and that would mean that there's going to be 5 to 8 companies that will be interviewing you in 15-minute slots. So this is precisely where all of the trainings should come together, because 15 minutes is not too much, especially if it's sort of a game where they shortlist you based on those. But other than that, for the onliners, we're scheduling the interviews individually with the companies, because it just makes everything a little harder, a little easier. Harder is not necessary at that point. And of course, at the very end of the course, after you're graduated, we offer you an initiative called Huli. Huli is a fox in Chinese. This had started when we've launched projects in China. It means that after the course is done and while we're looking for a job, you don't need to just sit at home and think about what's going to happen and what's not going to happen. Huli will give you an opportunity to work with other alumni on a real software development project. So while you're waiting for the job and you're in between the interviews, you still get to practice. Because what's the worst after you're learning something is then not doing it because you forget. And I think we've all been there. So these are some of the moments, of course, not all, where you will meet partners and you might meet, of course, other students as well. Speaking of placement, the job hunting, in other words, we guarantee you, if you're on the placement options, so that would be the before and the after payment methods, and optionally for the path variable ones, that we will find you a job within 6 months after your graduation. If that's not the case, then we will fully refund your tuition or leave it in case of the postpayment. Now, main conditions for this would be, of course, successful final exam. I think that's very self-explanatory. If you cannot pass the final exam, there's very little we can do for you, but that still doesn't mean that you're lost, if that's comforting. Of course, we expect you to complete all the modules and the soft skills training within a year, as in 12 months of starting your education. We also expect an active cooperation in the headhunting services, meaning that you will be going prepared to the interviews, well put together, and so on and so forth. We will open the door for you, but it's you who has to walk through it. We can't just make them give you a contract straight away. It really requires some effort from your side as well. However, I think that after the course, you will be really excited to take those steps anyways. So I'm not worried that much there. And of course, for the placement payment options, we also expect active search and applying for the jobs. However, during the first 3 months after the graduation from the course, it will be Green Fox Academy who will be placing you into your new jobs. And if that's not working, then there's the next 3 months, which are the placement guarantee. And if that fails as well, so you're looking and we're looking parallelly the last 3 months, which is why it says 6. If that doesn't work out, as previously mentioned, there will be a refund of the tuition. Now, speaking of the parameters of your next job, we guarantee you a minimum of 35,000 Czech crowns salary, or 1,340 euros. Now, this is a minimum salary. Overall, lately, we are thankfully reaching an average of 42,000 gross, which is, I think, great news. So no worries, it's not going to be lower than that. However, it may be, of course, higher, depending on the company, on your capabilities, on your background as well. Those are all of the things that play a factor, and of course, the soft skills that Dan mentioned. Now, there's also a couple of course, locations that we guarantee placement into. That would be Prague, Central Bohemian region, and Brno for the Czech Republic, or Bratislava and Košice for Slovakia. However, we have, of course, requests from the companies for locations such as Trenčín, Žilina, Banská Bystrica, and so on and so forth. And the same goes for the Czech Republic. if you live, for example, in Brno, we will not force you to move to Prague at all. Like, that's not how it works. We understand that moving might not be an option. And this will be part of our question when you get to the final module where the placement becomes relevant. So this will be all up on discussion. And of course, thanks to pandemics, at least some positive, a lot of these jobs are for the most part remote at this point, and may require your presence for a couple of days a week or a couple of first weeks in the new job, and then it usually turns into fully remote position. So that's another option. Hence, we can that way discuss, of course, outside of the borders as well, companies. Now, so that I don't bore you to death, I would like to give words to our alumni, Jarda, if he could be so kind and tell us a little bit about his journey and maybe share some of his experience. Thank you.
Hello, so I hope I won't be boring you to death as well then. But let me share my story, and I was thinking where to start. So I will take it from high school so you can feel the transition I went through. As a high school, I studied at geography and cartography, if you know, making plans and maps and so on. And after 2 years of working in that field, I was a little bit comfortable. I didn't want to do work in any weather possible, you know, during the summer, during winter, and so on. And at that time, a lot of people, I think, like all of my friends, wanted to work in bank and financial sector, etc. So I decided to go to university. And first I obtained back to university after 2 years of working and so on. So I went to study at University of Life Sciences, where I obtained my bachelor's degree in corporate management and economy, something like that. I decided to take it a bit further and went to University of Economics, where I obtained my master's degree in basically the same field, let's say. And I started to work at Accenture as a client financial management senior analyst. It took a little bit more than 3 years. I was working in finance. I was doing financial analysis and financial planning on project and client level. On the projects and clients I was kind of responsible for, I was supporting the delivery teams on those projects. So I was working closely with project managers and also the Accenture leadership and so on. But I somehow felt a lack of meaning in my work. I wanted to do something where I can kind of feel that I make something tangible, that I build something. So first I applied for informatics studies at University of Life Sciences, because it was, by that time, it was the only university in Prague that allowed such distance studies along working. But I attended just one class on Saturday, and then I kind of came to conclusion that I'm not willing to give it another 3 years of studying again math, psychology, and such subjects. So I wanted to focus more on the coding only, and to really learn just that IT part. And after some research I made on the internet, I found GreenFox, and I felt that it is very good fit to me, because when making that research, I found also some other IT courses like weekend ones and so on. But weekend, if you put these two courses against each other, then you have weekend course for 20k Czech crowns, which is 20 hours in total for 20k, for example, which is very specialized course. And if you put this GreenFox course against it, then it is like 600 something hours for that price. So, you know, if you place it like for price per hour, then it is totally like convenient for me. So at the end of the year, I terminated my contract, my employment contract, and started the full-time online course in March. In July, I graduated the course, and like a week after that, I had my first contact again with Accenture, and then we agreed on the conditions of the contract, and I started then. Now in September I started, and now I'm in the process of learning new things because I started to work with a ServiceNow platform, and I have to obtain the first certification, which should happen on Monday next week. So, and actually I was already almost placed to my first project. My CV is at client's site right now, and I'm waiting. I don't know anything about the project right now, but I'm waiting that I should already start next week. So I don't know if I should add something, but if you have some questions, you can then ask me. I think, I'm not sure if this is the last slide, but you can then ask me, and if Bara or somebody doesn't mind, I can put also some link on my LinkedIn, for example. If you want to contact me afterwards, I can answer the questions if you are shy to ask now, or maybe you will have some question later, maybe you don't have right now. So that's all from me.
Thank you very much, Jarda. There are just a few more slides, and I really appreciate your willingness to dedicate your free time to answering questions. So the link in LinkedIn would be very appreciated. However, you're more than welcome to ask Jarda when we get to the question part, and I promise that's coming very soon right now. Oh, and you're gonna do great with the certification on Monday. Now, so speaking of the next courses, the closest ones, the upcoming ones are in November. The earlier one, the evening and weekend course, starts on the 16th. And the super intensive course starts the day before, on Monday, 15th of November. So the deadline for application is on the 23rd of October, or when the capacity is filled. So even if you're considering enrolling into courses that are, for example, that will be launched later on, such as another super intensive course will be launched in March, I still would definitely recommend to you to try it out now. While this is still easier, and potentially if you pass, we can put you on the waiting list and ensure the spot for you. Now, let me also invite you on the 13th of October at 6 p.m. To our online workshop. We're going to cover some basics of coding. You can register through our website. It's free, but then again, the registration is required. And to your email address, just like today, we will send you the link to join. Now, and as promised before, we've come to the end of our presentation. And now would be a great time to answer any of your questions that you may possibly have. Would anyone like to ask on the microphone, or shall we go through the chat?
Yeah, hi, can I ask you something?
Yes.
Yeah, about the job. After we finish the course, the job you can offer us is only in the Prague or in the middle in the Czech?
No, there are, yes, Martin. No, the job could be in Prague, Central Bohemian region, or Brno for the Czech Republic, or Košice and Bratislava for Slovakia. However, we of course try to help out with, let's say, more remote regions if students are there, but we're not guaranteeing this by contract, but we're gonna do what we can in that sense. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, because I'm from Ostrava, so do you know the situations here?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, you made me very happy right now because I am looking for someone to be placed in Ostrava. So yes.
Yes, all right. And what about the salary here in Ostrava? Do you know something about it?
Well, that is completely irrelevant. As previously said, the lowest salary that we offer to our students in their new jobs is 35,000 gross at minimum. So it's not going to be less. I cannot tell you the name of the employer or of the company that's looking, but it's usually higher.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. That's all I want to know.
You're more than welcome.
May I ask Bara?
Sure.
How about this cognitive game? Is it difficult when somebody doesn't play these computer games to be successful in this cognitive game, or it is absolutely different, some psychology game?
Done.
I've unmuted myself already because I think this is more a question for me. The games, I would, from my subjective point of view, I would say it may have a small effect in the sense that you will be faster able to understand the rules of the game. But the games are so simple, it's so stupid almost, I would say, that understanding the games should not be an issue because it's not a question of performance. It's not a question of how well you play them. Well, partially, but not too much. Mostly it's about how you act during the game. So the game is set up in a way where it puts you into certain situations, and the way you react to those situations is what is interesting to us mostly. And it doesn't really matter how you're doing it or what you're doing.
However, if I may add to that, I would strongly recommend that when you're playing that game, you make sure to be on your laptop that has a mouse. Don't try it on mobile, that you're probably gonna break the phone. In anger, been there. And of course, with the touchpad, that's not the easiest task as well. So, you know, mouse, computer, that way.
Understand.
A bit of space also, you know, like put people away, get a quiet space and just focus on the game. After 20 minutes, you can, you know, let your dog in and your wife maybe, but otherwise just put everybody away, focus on the game, get it done, and then you're good to go.
And second question, could you give us some idea how many people, when for example, first step of applicants is, for example, 20 people, how many from the 20 people will go through the first these games? Second is some psychology interview, and how many people will stop at this second step, psychology interview, and how many people maybe I think there was some step when you explained your story about how you.
That was the interview. Yeah, it was just confusing because of the slide. Second is interview, and final is the coding simulation. Yeah.
So how many people will stop in first step, cognitive gain, and how many people will stop in second? It means from 20, for example, 1/3 in first, second third in second, and 1/3 is successful. Is it right? Something like that, or? Is it better?
Before I answer the question, maybe I'm going to ask Bara real quick if I'm allowed to say this, this information. Do you think that's fine?
Well, if you have that statistic, sure, go for it. I would go with overall because this is really difficult. People stop the process, and so how do you count that? Yeah, but you go for it.
The stop doesn't mean that people will stop. Stop means that you will stop them.
Yeah, I understand the question. So we don't have specific statistics saying it. So this is more from my feeling of how I remember and how I perceive it. So don't take this as the final number. But I would say from the games, about 70% of the people pass through. We generally try to give more of a chance to people rather than put them away, because eventually we'll figure it out through the process and we can always decide at the end. So we try to generally rather push people through. On the second step in the interview, this is not so much of a question of passing, actually, because most of the time, if we don't have some serious motivation issues, when we feel like the person hasn't chosen, correctly, or has perhaps sometimes when somebody has absolutely no experience with coding, and we feel that the motivation is weaker, we try to find some other way, maybe to try to get him to play or go through the My First App course that we have also to test their motivation. But usually we send people to the simulation, and then based on the results of the simulation and of the interview, we make our decision. We usually put those two together. Yeah, and so in the end, this like the number of people who pass this combined, it's definitely about above 50%. But it's hard for me to give you an accurate number because I'm not really sure. It's more than half. But yeah, somehow we have a lot of applicants, but the number of people who get to the last step and who finish the selection process is relatively low. It's actually quite small, but not so much because of the selection process, because they fall off due to, I don't know, reasons of they lose interest or something. It's kind of hard to tell why people disappear. But yeah, it's not so extremely selective.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thanks. So 50% from first step will lose in second step.
Ooh,
and don't pass the second step, if I understand, because you said 50%. I don't know 50% from what base? The beginning or base at the end of first step?
Okay, I will. If I'm sorry, this is. Apologies, gentlemen, this is getting a little lengthier than necessary. I will summarize it for you, Luboš. About 80–90% of the applicants do not get through the selection process.
Okay.
But try it and we'll see how far we manage to get together.
Thanks.
Excuse me, I have a question which answer was said before. The online courses at the weekends are full, actually?
As in full day or full in capacity?
Full in capacity.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
however,
I have another question. What everything I need for the starting the course? Do I need something special, like some better laptop or something like that?
In general, we tell our students that, if you have a laptop that's around the price of 15–16,000 Czech crowns, you're fine. Don't have something prehistoric.
No. I have a pretty good laptop, but I think maybe we needed something more special,
No. That's the beginning, and your new employer will most likely give you the necessary hardware. There are certain specifications. However, a standard, normally functioning laptop will do, regardless of it being Mac or Windows operated.
Yeah, all right, thanks.
May I ask, in November start only the online course or also the present course?
Yes, we're launching only the online courses in November.
And is some date when started the present course or not?
Yes, beginning of March. I'm not sure if it's the 1st of March or the 2nd of March.
Okay, so if I lose this November, the next chance is in March. Am I right? Or will be?
Completely, because the selection process, the results of it are valid for 6 months. So if we accept you or refuse you, this is valid for 6 months. So if we accept you, you don't have to go to the course. That's the next one. You can keep this acceptance and maybe join a later one. If we refuse you, you just can't attend the next courses for the next 6 months, and then you can apply again and try again.
My question was if is some the term between the November and March. Yeah, if some, for example, in January start next the online course or not.
No, we don't plan that. However,
Okay.
I wouldn't want to rule it out.
Okay, thanks.
No problem.
Hello guys, I have a question. I would follow the previous question. Basically, for the entry level test that you take, can I take it now and then apply maybe next year? I don't know, like maybe in September next year, just in order to find out if I would be acceptable, you know? Because based on my conditions right now, I cannot actually do the course right now, but maybe like half year, 1 year later, I can do it. So just in order to plan it.
You can go through the selection process. If we accept you, it's going to be, you can know that you can probably get through, but it's only going to be valid for the next 6 months. So if you want to join a course in a year, you're going to have to do the selection process again. If you want to join a course in half a year, it might fit.
All right, perfect. Thank you for the answer.
But good for planning purposes.
Hello, I'm Roman. I would like to ask if there is now possibility to get the employer through you in Žilina. I have heard the name of town, so I am interested in if there is any chance.
I'm sorry, Roman. You said Žilina?
Žilina, yes.
Yeah. We have inquiries there. We're finalizing some of the deals, but we have inquiries there.
Okay, chances, but it is not true. Okay, thank you.
Hi everyone. But I have a question for you. My name is Adrian. Sorry. So if I would understand, in November will be open the online course, but this will be from Monday up to Friday, every day, or this will be the weekend online course?
Actually, on that week, we open both. So there will be an online one from the 15th, super intensive version. And from the 16th, so the day after, we will have the evening and the weekend one. So both of them are being online launched mid-November.
Okay, understand. And there is still a free place in November in online intensive?
Yes.
Okay, and the last question, do you also cooperate with the Budapest Green Fox Academy, or there is still a chance, for example, get the job in Budapest?
That's no problem. Just make the wish.
Okay, thank you very much. Many thanks.
We are friends with Budapest. That's why we invited the co-founder, Tojáš, to talk to us about the technical part.
Okay, thanks.
Hello, I have a question too. When I want to try admission procedure, I must register on your course on your website, or when I don't want to start your course now, so how can I try it?
Answer? Okay, so it's pretty much the same. You can just yes, you will register for the course, but you can just tell us during the registration that, hey, I'm just going through this to try, and we'll be like, okay, let's go through it, and you'll see how it goes. And then it's up to you if you want to start. I mean, you can do what you want, and then as long as you don't give us the money for the course, it's not going to start. So yeah, just go ahead. You're fine to try, and we'll be happy to have you and to give you a chance and see how you do.
Okay, thanks for the answer.
Okay, so I think we can take some of the questions from the chat.
Okay, I think there's a lot of which were answered, but about the salary, we had questions for the minimum salary, which I believe was answered. But now we have a question for the average salary of our graduates.
As I mentioned, currently it's 42,000 Czech crowns gross.
Thank you. So next, a nice question. Will I be able to find well-paid job in IT without university with your course?
Define well-paid. That's one thing, you know, and then compare it against your abilities, and so critically, and try to be objective there as well. That will determine it, but you should be able. We have students that ranged different salaries. Like I said, we had to make the average of 42,000 somehow, which means there's incorporated the 35,000 Czech crowns salaries to it as well. But there's gotta be much higher, if you understand where I'm going with the maths. I hope I answered that question.
Thank you. There is for you, Bara, one last question for the placement, which is about Great Britain.
Yes.
Abroad.
We are finalizing a placement of one student to London currently. So as soon as that is official, I assure you, it's going to appear on the website.
Thank you.
But if I may, there's certain partners that we cooperate with already actively that, for example, allow you to transition from one country to another or within the cities as a part of that company after, for example, a year or a year and a half at the position where you're hired at. So if you were hired to Prague, after a year, they may allow you to move to, I don't know, Switzerland, or wherever your heart takes you, and of course, wherever they have an office. So these are certainly possibilities, and they're open to absolutely everybody. Sorry, keep going, Kirinka.
Awesome. Thank you for this answer. Next, we have a question about the, let's say, schedule of the course, like how many time takes super intensive course, how many weekend and evening, and also about the project phase, like how can people do it with a job, if it's possible, about the times.
Okay, so regarding the hourly dedication of the courses, as mentioned on the website and in the presentation for the super intensive course by Peter, it is 640 hours, contact hours during the course. For the part-time, as in evening and weekend, that would be 532, I think, if I'm not mistaken. However, as anticipated previously, the two modules, the first two modules are all right to do in the part-time dedication. However, for the third module, it has to happen in an intensive mode. So you will be going to classes 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And yes, of course, during that time, you will not be able to work. Why is that? Well, if you are on a placement option and you're looking to be placed into a company, I need to have you available for placement. Because just thinking about it, if you would be quitting after the project phase, then there's the 2-month leaving period. I highly doubt that any company would wait specifically for you if they can choose someone out of the other 15 or 20 people. So for that purpose, of course, you will have to leave your job and fully focus on that career change.
Okay, thank you. Next, I would ask Dan to answer, how long does the whole selection process take?
Okay, that depends on two things. On one hand, it depends on you, on how fast you get through the things that we send you. So when we get your application and stuff, yeah, how quickly. So just today, I saw a guy who I sent him the link to the games. And in the afternoon, when I was checking the procedure, I saw that he finished them already. Then I sent him a link for an interview, and already my phone beeped a few minutes later, and I saw that he already applied for the interview. So this is kind of also up to you. At the same time, there are certain things which slow it down, such as for the simulations, our mentors have to do it, right? They need to see the people who go through it. And we have them almost every day, except for Friday. But still, we can only have 2 people per simulation. So as the slots fill up, it takes a bit of time to get to that. So currently, the closer you get to the deadline of the course, the more time it takes because more people apply and the volume gets greater and the slots fill up more. So I really advise you to apply in advance, really plan this so that, yeah, it doesn't get hung up on this as well. But usually altogether, the standard would be about 2 to 3 weeks is how long all of this takes.
Great. Thank you.
And this, sorry, may I ask, Daniel, this this selection process is in English or in Czech?
It's a bit of both. Some steps, it's mostly in English. In the interview, I'll talk, or Katarina will talk to you a little bit in Czech, but we'll mostly speak in English so that we get to see what your level of English is for the course. And in the simulation, it depends on which mentor you have the simulation with. So we have Shati, who's a Hungarian, so you don't really have the choice. you have to speak English with him. Then we have Amy, who's Slovak. So yeah, she speaks Slovak. It really depends on the circumstances, but most of it is English. Prepare to use your English to get in.
Okay, and the teaching lessons are in Czech or in English? Only this registered or accredited course is in Czech, or other ones are also in Czech? Lessons, courses.
Right. So everything is accredited at this point, and the part-time courses are all in English only. We don't have anything else. But for the super intensive course, the on-campus courses are only in Czech because we have one so far. It may change in the future, but for now we're only in Czech. And for the on-campus course, online course, super intensive, we have both languages. So we have some Czech groups and we have some English groups.
Thanks.
No problem.
So now change the topic a little bit. I have a question for Tojáš. How long are the homework videos on average?
So I answered this on the chat. On average, it's 2-3 hours, maximum 3 hours, sometimes 1 hour, but I would say expect always a bit more than 2 hours.
Thank you for the
Maybe Jarda could tell us.
Yeah, I would say that it depends on the topic, of the complexity of the topic that you need to prepare for the next day, because sometimes it can take 40 minutes and you really catch up on things, and then it might take 3 hours and you need additional explanations on the next day still. So I don't know, it's hard to answer, but it depends on the topic that you take the next day. I don't know if this is the answer you would like to hear or expect.
Okay, next questions. I would like to try that game. I want, yeah, the one during selection. When there will be time for that?
Okay, the games are part of the selection process, so just apply and you'll get there.
Thank you. This is a nice question. Have online students time to time live meetings or events, or is completely online?
Well, the classes are online, as the name of the course. But if you're in Prague or if you're at all close by, we always try to organize some beer or some other event meetup. And of course, there's absolutely no problem to connect you with the other Green Fox people in the city where you are, if of course there are any.
Yes, thank you. If you want to find me a job outside of the standard locations, does it mean I cannot go for before or after, only for path variable?
Mm-hmm. If we're, so for example, I am going to say České Budějovice just for no particular reason. So if you live in a České Budějovice and you want a job in České Budějovice or, you know, surrounding area, that's fine. You can still be on the before or after payment method, as in you still, you know, can be placed by us. Throughout that time of the course, if you decide that maybe you'd be better off placing yourself, then there is the buyout that I have mentioned. That's always the option. So that's one way how we can look at it. And the second way to look at it is, for example, if you're employed by a partner that's based in Prague, this company may either fully integrate you straight away remotely, completely, or they might ask you to visit them once a week or for the first 2 weeks during you know, during the beginning of your start there. There's, for example, a company that we have in Prague that's hiring from outside of Prague, and they have a company flat. So first week or two, they usually ask the alumni of ours when they start working them to stay there just for the physical contact. However, I would say the golden rule, and in general, you want to be physically present in the company. And if they only need you in the first few weeks, then that's still fine. It's still doable from anywhere in the country for the most part. They usually are happy to help with that. I hope I answered your question.
Thank you. Now I have questions about Compass Plus. Do we have any students already went by that?
For the Compass Plus, which is an alternative of our Czech labor office financial support, you have to first pass the selection process and then apply. So there has been people running for it. However, they did not pass the selection process. So currently, we unfortunately have not gone through the Compass Plus funding yet with a student, but we're more than happy to observe very closely so that we learn and help you out. Oh, good. In that case, I will put you in contact with Veronica to follow it closer and help if that's possible.
So I have a few, like 2-3 last questions. How often do you organize online courses?
Mm-hmm. There isn't an exact timeline where I could say you that it tell you that it happens every 3 months or every 4 months. We try to open them, of course, as often as possible if we have the sufficient interest from the clients and, of course, from the partner companies. Currently, I would say it's every 2.5 months on average, or 2 months on average.
Thank you. And I have a last question, which is regarding the after payment options. What is the deadline for payment, the deposit? And is it possible to pay in 2-3 installments?
The deadline for payment of the 20,000 Czech crowns deposit is, well, the start of the course. So that if you have this individual query and need, now those are sorted out as said individually. It is possible, but it's not a standard procedure at all.
Thank you. I'm thinking, yep. So last question will be if we are planning to make courses on Python.
Actually, as a matter of fact, we currently have a class that's about to finish on the 7th. Good luck for final exams. And there is a project team in Python. We're not at this point really interested in launching the first 2 phases in Python. We're doing it in C# and in Java. However, in the project phase, the final module of the course, we have a variety of technologies. And for example, Python is one of them, or can be one of them.
Also, it is amazingly easy to learn Python after Java.
Yeah.
True that. Okay, so one last question really to jump here, and it's about English level. What level do we need, or how do you find out if we are okay with the level English?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I would relate it directly to the grading system of B1, B2, as the question asked specifically. If you're going for a Czech course, then you need to be able to understand written or English that is being said. So you need good understanding of the videos or of the text that you're going to read. You don't really need to be able to speak. If you're going into an English course, then you need to be able to express yourself, to communicate with the mentors. And I would say during the soft skills trainings, you need to be able to express maybe some more complex ideas, because we get a bit deeper into things. So for there, I would really like people to see people speaking better English for that one. Anything to add maybe from the others?
I would like, as always, I would like to add something. In general, the second language of IT is in English. So you have to learn it in order to succeed in this world. It's fine if you have 20, 30 years of experience now and barely speak English. Yes, because you weigh it out with the experience. However, for future, English is extremely important. Whereas, especially the Czechs and the Slovaks, we're small countries. And let's be honest, new features are not really invented here. This is all coming from abroad, and all of the content is always in English. So you will use it and you will keep using it in your future professional endeavors as well. Without that, it's just not going to happen. And this is also why Toyash mentioned Python. If you speak really well English, Python is going to be a rose garden. So it certainly is a critically important part of it. You need to be able to at least communicate somewhat.
Great. So it was, as I mentioned, the last question. If you have any others, like details of the payments, the details of the courses, dates, and things like that, you can ask me on the email or on the chat on our website. So here is the email address in the chat. So feel free to ask us on the email.
Thank you very much. I would love to answer Josef's question on funny memory from any. Oh my God, it's every day there is a memory. Currently, we're running 6 parallel classes, so there's a lot of memories in making. But you should come over for a beer, and we're gonna be more than happy to share it with you. All right, are there any further questions that we may answer?
Yeah, how long it take the online course?
That depends on which course you choose. If you go for the super intensive, we are talking about 4.5 months. If we're talking about the evening and weekend course, somebody help me out. It's altogether 23 weeks. So if you could do the math, please, that'd be great.
Yeah. Let me think. Give me a second.
No pressure.
So the super intensive course, you means that it's say depends something about from 9 till 6 the hours, or how long it takes. I mean, if I going to the job and I can go only and sometimes, so it's take how long it's take for week. I mean.
Okay, like I said, super intensive course means you don't have a job. Learning will be your job because it's a super intensive career change, and that requires, you know, a lot of effort. It's impossible to work next to it. And, you know, Green Fox exists for 6 years altogether. I don't think we had a single situation where a student of super intensive course could manage to work at least or even on part-time. They were those that tried, but not a single time it worked out.
Yeah, all right, I get it. Thanks.
All right, well, it seems like we've come to the end of all of the questions.
Could I have one question more? Excuse me. I didn't hear, maybe I had an interruption. I'm talking about the part-time course. This is the beginning now in the half of November. On what day approximately begins the third module of that course?
I am on a different computer currently, so I cannot have a look. Would you guys check it out in Optimus, please?
The question is when the third phase of the course begins. Which course was it?
November. I actually think it's 4th of April, now that I counted fast.
Okay.
I think 4th of April is the first day of project phase.
Okay. Thank you.
We'll clarify. Hold on, Roman, hold on.
We're talking about super intensive, right?
No. Part-time, but the third module, that is the all-time module.
Yeah.
I believe it's June, Dan, as we talked today about it.
Yeah, this is the same.
The same question.
Yeah, so it should be, was it June 2nd? I think we got to June 2nd, actually.
6th. It should be very beginning of June.
Yeah, Christmas pushes it. Yeah, there's 2 weeks during Christmas, which push it forward. Well, if anyone, I think, can make sense of it, it's you, Jiřinka.
Yeah, just believe me. I believe it was 6th of June. But okay. If you have, like, I believe you really need this question to quit your job. So during the selection process, you will know for 100% when you should quit your job and when to be prepared for the project phase. Well, it's like 6 months from now.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Are there any other project? Sorry. Are there any other questions that we may answer?
Yeah. How was your day today?
Mine specifically?
All of you?
Well, mine was great. I was very excited to be back from vacation. Thank you for asking.
Since you're speaking, Peter, actually, I would like to take this moment to specifically thank you for patience with answering all the questions in the chat. I don't know if you want to work for us, but perhaps this is an opportunity that you're creating for yourself. So yeah, thanks for that in general.
You're welcome. I'm just in the foundation module.
Yeah, so. We know. We were so surprised when we saw your name here. Like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
It's
but
good to have you with
also I
us.
think that you haven't answered, or I missed it out. My question about the accreditation for online course. Does it count for my course, which just has started 2 weeks ago, or doesn't?
Yes. I have mistakenly sent the answer to Jiřinka. Thanks for notifying me. Unfortunately, we cannot retrospectively apply the accreditation because we're, fighting here with the state apparatus, and I probably don't need to explain. So no, the accreditation is only available from the day that we received it for the further ones. So not for the current one that where you right now are.
Okay, thanks.
Sorry, but it was worth a shot.
But at the end of any course, you will receive as applicants some certification, which is good proof for new employer.
Yes, of course. However, you will receive our certification, Green Fox Academy ones, and you will also receive a certification from Ministry of Education as an official proof of requalification. So those will be the paperworks that you will receive. However, what's going to get you a job is not going to be a piece of paper, rather your skills. Especially in IT, it's not really about, what certification you possess as much as, what you can actually do. But it's good to have it, especially backed up with the ministry. That always sounds good for the bigger companies.
Bara, and one more question. This Compass Plus, we have something in Slovakia in such kind of like in Czech Republic, this Compass Plus through this Úřad práce, some sponsorship or something from a government.
Well, Compass Plus is Slovakian.
So it's a Slovakian, so it's not a Czech.
No, Compass Plus is a Slovakian initiative.
Okay.
So you can have it just like we have here the state support that the Czech students can ask for at the labor office.
Okay,
so
very well.
You have Compass Plus there in the Czech Republic. It's just called financial support.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Okay, so last call for last question. No brave one. Okay, so hopefully everyone knows what wanted to know. So thank you everyone for being with us for almost 2 hours and listening to us. It was great. And I'm happy that you were really brave to ask all these questions on the microphone.